Hello everybody, I'm here and I'm back, and today in How Dare You Weekend, we're gonna play Soul Reaver 2, The Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 2, one of the best games of all time in my opinion, at least one of the best story written games and one of the best voice acted games of all time. I have to capture this game via capture display. I cannot capture this game via capture exe file because OBS is being a dummy. So this is why you guys can see my desktop. Then again, it's kind of thematically fitting. But yeah, let's see who's in the chat. Hey Dodger. Hell yes, Soul Reaver 2. I actually wonder if I can beat this game in like a weekend. Because last time I have played Soul Reaver 2 was when I had my second PC. So it was over 7-8 years ago. If not even a little bit more, because it was my second PC that have 9500. It was, I think, how was it called? GDX 9500? Or was it just the GeForce 90? You know, the very old generation of graphic cards, 2-core CPU, Windows XP, that kind of stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna click on the game. Just gonna allow it to run its course. I'm using a different type of software to actually capture the game. Because... And not different type of software. I'm using a different type of program to actually launch this game on multi-core CPUs. I'm trying to find a good audio setting for this. We're gonna try with 10. If 10 is gonna be too quiet, you guys can tell me, okay? Alright, so let's not waste any time and just start the game.
At last. I must say I'm disappointed in your progress. I imagined you'd be here sooner. Tell me, did it trouble you to murder your brothers?
Did it trouble you when you ordered me into the abyss?
Eternity is relentless, Raziel. When I first stole into this chamber centuries ago, I did not fathom the true power of knowledge. To know the future, Raziel. To see its paths and streams tracing out into the infinite. As a man, I could never contain such forbidden truths. But each of us is so much more than we once were. Do you not feel with all your soul how we have become like gods? As such, are we not indivisible? As long as a single one of us stands, we are legion. Our futures are predestined. Mobius foretold mine eons ago. We each play out the parts fate has written for us. Free will is an illusion.
I found the tomb of Sarafan, Kain. How could you profane a priest by turning him into a vampire?
How could I not? One must keep his friends close, Raziel, and his enemies even closer. Who better to serve me than those whose passion transcends all notions of good and evil?
The Sarafan were saviors, defending Nazgul from the corruption that we represent. My eyes are open, Kain. I find no nobility in the unlife you rudely forced on my unwilling corpse.
You may have uncovered your past, but you know nothing of it. You think the Sarafan were noble, altruistic? Oh, don't be simple. Their agenda was the same as ours. You nearly had me, Raziel. But this is not where or how it ends. Fate promises more twists before this drama unfolds completely.
Redeemer and Destroyer, Pawn and Messiah. Welcome, time-span soul. Welcome to your destiny.
Hey, Scout Dog. Hope you're doing well. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to everybody.
Where am I? Is the usual question. In your case, when might be more apt.
Very well, you old snake. If you'd prefer I use my bare hands.
This is completely unexpected. This orb disables our vampire enemies, leaving them helpless and incapacitated. Strangely, it seems to have the same effect on that peculiar weapon of yours. But you must believe me. I mean you no harm.
You can drop the benevolent facade, Mobius. I know who and what you are. I should kill you where you stand.
Perhaps you should, my boy. But you don't.
Are you so certain of that, Mobius?
My role as Time Guardian affords me a certain level of omniscience, Raziel. No, you don't kill me. That honor belongs to your maker, Kain, some 30 years from now.
Ah, you two are a pair. You're just as fatalistic as he is.
Death comes for us all, Raziel. It's just a matter of time.
How is it that you know my name? We have never met.
On the contrary, Raziel, I know you very well, and it grieves me to see how cruelly Kain has used you. I knew you when you were one of the Sarafan Brotherhood, Raziel. We were even close.
Oh, please.
Fortunately, you need not love me now to be my ally.
Are we within the stronghold of the Sarafan priesthood?
Yes. But the glorious days of the Sarafan have long since passed, I'm afraid. This is a more cynical and indecorous age. My mercenary army now inhabits this stronghold. We strive to honor the memory of the Sarafan with our own humble crusade.
Is this the vampire Vorador?
Yes. The scourge of the Circle, the most depraved and decadent example of his whole degenerate race. He slaughtered 6 of my fellow Guardians as they cowered defenseless in this room.
And you somehow survived this massacre?
I and 2 others. The Circle was devastated. Only we 3 were spared.
How convenient. You'll forgive me if I don't naively devour every scrap of information you toss me. You have a reputation for deceit.
And who has slandered me so? Your malefactor, Kain? The one who betrayed and destroyed you? Our common enemy? Consider the source before you judge me too harshly. We'll forget about rekindling our old friendship then. But consider an alliance based on our common ground. We both want Kain dead. I can help you do it.
You don't want to meddle in this, old man. I know all about your sordid little schemes, but you're simply out of your depth on this one.
You underestimate me, Raziel. Let me show you. even now, Kain is lying in wait for you, unaware that I've snatched you out of the time stream and brought you here to me. See how he lingers at the very pillars he is destined to destroy, foolishly confident that he has eluded your grasp.
The pillars are still standing in this time.
Yes, Raziel. They are the embodiment of the divine force which preserves the life of our world. We who serve the pillars maintain their delicate balance, and Kain is destined to be the fulcrum upon which that balance turns. I believe you have already endured the wasteland wrought by his terrible, selfish decision. Kain's very existence is a cancer upon this world. As long as he lives, all of Nosgoth is in peril. You may never again be human, Raziel. But you can re-embrace the essence of your humanity and the nobility of your Sarafan heritage. Go to him, Raziel, and end this. But first, you will need to find your way out of the stronghold, and in this, I'm afraid I cannot help you. My soldiers will not understand your appearance here. They will try to kill you. You needn't fear them, of course. They're no match for you. Try to keep the casualties to a minimum. But do what you have to do. All great movements require a few martyrs.
Alone now, I surveyed my surroundings and noticed a second time-streaming chamber. Its entrance identical to the first, but with one distinction. That crystal was significant, but how? I had not yet discovered.
Hey, Squid. Oh, so the start is a block button. So, okay, so escape is this. Okay, yeah. So, okay, I understand. This game functions with the traditional, not really traditional save system. Probably functions with the auto saves and whatnot. Because I don't know where I can save. Because it doesn't allow me to save in the game. Also, I'm currently using the controller to play this game, because I used to play this game on a controller on the previous thing. Hey, Squid, Mobius is there. Yeah, he is. I know the story of the game, and he's a very big manipulator, so I'm not surprised. Okay, so triangle is a heavy attack, this is a small attack, circle is a soul suck, and X is a jump. Yeah, that's a true fact. There's one thing though about... Okay, so hold up. R1 is this, and I need to press the all three. To look somewhere up, left, or something like that. Only the problem is, holding the all three on an Xbox controller, it's kind of wonky. It's kind of very wonky.
Welcome back.
Sid, tier 11. Tier 11, yes, I wish. tier 1 sub for 11 months, thank you very much. Okay, so Mobius basically told partially the story of the Blood Omen game, the very first game in the series. And that's actually correct. The Vardor half came into the chamber and he killed most of the Pillar Guardians. Tier 11, I know, right? $1 million. The difficulty in this game is kind of weird, because it's basically... Seize him! The beginning of the game is kind of okay. But it's the end game that turns this game into an absolute massacre. Like, this game becomes very difficult at the very end of the game. It almost becomes Dark Souls pretty much. Yeah, endgame is pretty brutal. That's what I remember. With the last remaining enemies, this game is actually pretty freaking brutal. Wait, how do I? Because this is a heavy attack, and I just want to drop. Okay, so I need to put the thing down because I want to have a sword.
I'd buy that for $1.
Mother gifting tier 2 to Ghost. Holy shit! And we also have activated the hype train. The hype train is close. Thank you very much for the tier 2, Mother. That's appreciated. Holy crap. That's generous. Thank you very much. The controls in this game are a little bit wonky, but quite honestly, what can you expect from a game from like 2001, 2002? This is a very old game. I'm actually surprised with all the plugins that I have made, the game still, like, you know, runs. Oh, I'm gonna hate that bitch. Even more, I'm gonna hate the fact that the camera angles are absolutely dreadful. I can tell this much, because I'm running this game on 60 FPS, the controls are still improved over the legacy of Kain Reaver 1, that's I can say.
Throughout the stronghold, I discovered evidence of my former nobility and my life as a Sarafan priest. This was the heritage so foully stolen from me when Kain raided my sacred crypt and defiled me.
I'm actually very glad that they didn't change the control schemes from the original story. I mean, it's a little bit changed. Just a tiny bit, so it's not really that bad. They added the blocking option, but the block button is in such uncomfortable. It's in such an uncomfortable position, so it's not even worth it. I could play this game with mouse and keyboard, but I can already say the mouse and keyboard is gonna be hella uncomfortable. So I had to play it on the controller more than anything else. Besides that, like I said, it's a game for like 2001, 2002. So I am kind of expecting this game to crash as well. Even though I already made every single like setting preparation for this game that is possible, and by that I mean this game runs only a maximum of 2 CPU cores because it's a very old game and it's not very good to run it on multi-core processors. You know, I locked this game FPS-wise to 60, even though this game even predates things that were, you know, earlier, that were pretty much available, that were not available even. And the thing I'm trying to mention is the VSync. This game doesn't have VSync, it simply runs loosely with all the FPS that it can get. Oh yeah, I totally forgot. There's this thing called going to the other world. How could I forget about that? And for those who don't know, Otherworld basically is kind of like a world where basically everything shifts, where Raziel can use his abilities from Soul Reaver 1. In this case, going through the crates like this.
Away from the influence of Mobius's cursed staff, I could feel the strength of the Soul Reaver slowly returning. If that orb was as debilitating to vampires as it was to the blade, it gave Mobius a powerful advantage over his enemies. I finally understood how Mobius's crusade could decimate the vampires so successfully. If he could immobilize his enemies, they were at his mercy. But why, I wondered, would the staff have any effect on the Reaver?
Blocking... if there's a one complaint I can already have, is the positioning of the block button in the controller. Right? Block for me is start button. Oh yeah, also if you're gonna get hit, you lose the Reaver. And also you are better off not using the Reaver altogether. Because if you're gonna start using the Reaver is gonna eventually turn on you and start feeding on... Instead of allowing you to feed, it's gonna start feeding on the souls of your enemies. So it basically steals your healing. Souls are basically a healing item in this game. Kinda wish I could have tracked those ladies one at a time. I think I can try to do it. I think I'm gonna try with this one.
Get it. Die.
Wait, let me try again. Okay, never mind. Oh, so I cannot lock the heavy attacks. I can lock the small ones, which is already pretty good. Nah, I think I'm feeling more confident with the sword rather than that gigantic axe. Yeah, dodging in this game is super wonky. Because this game doesn't function on tank controls, it functions on your camera's perspective. No, I never played Dante's Inferno. I really don't know what this game is all about.
As I neared the stronghold's inner sanctum, a strange
sensation not even any
crept over me. An indescribable feeling of displacement, a sense of vertigo, as reality itself appeared to warp and bend around me. The disturbance seemed to emanate from the sanctuary's furthest chapel. As I cautiously approached, the sense of dislocation intensified with each step. So this was the tomb of the beloved King William the Just, beatified here as the martyr and catalyst of Mobius's crusade. I was reminded of Kain's journey as a fledgling vampire, how Mobius coerced him to travel back in history and assassinate William, thus igniting a genocidal hatred of vampires among the citizens of Nosgoth. And here I discovered the source of the displacement. The Soul Reaver itself, laid out like a holy relic, and broken, apparently in the battle between William and Kain. I had not thought such a thing was possible, until, of course, Kain shattered the blade against me when he tried to strike me down. Thus the captive spirit inhabiting the Reaver was released, and binding itself to me became my symbiotic weapon. And so the Reaver met its former self, still imprisoned in this corporeal shell. I watched, mesmerized, as the Wraith blade uncoiled itself and snaked down the length of the physical blade. Embracing its twin, its mirror self, the Reaver's long dormant spirit was now fully aroused, and for the first time, I felt the true presence of this other entity, willful, ravenous, and deranged from thousands of years of imprisonment. The Reaver was now in command, and I, now merely its helpless host, felt my soul being leeched to restore the blade. But the Reaver knew better than to destroy its host, and just as I neared the brink of oblivion, the blade released its hold on me. As I recovered, I realized we were now bound together in a fragile alliance. The Reaver no longer merely my symbiotic weapon, but a sentient parasite competing for control.
What have you done to me, Mobius? Is this your trap?
How mine? Don't forget it was Kain who led you here, not I. While you curse me, the only soul in Nosgoth ready to guide and assist you, Kain laughs at our folly and revels in your dismay.
These blades, now coiled in sinister embrace, have inspired terror in the hearts of creatures far more durable than you, old man. Bound together as they are, I can only imagine what they could do to your soul's fragile shell.
Raziel, I beg you to stay your hand. This was none of my doing. I have sought only to aid you in your righteous quest.
Why, you're trembling, Mobius. Has your confidence abandoned you? You seem to have made a fatal error by leaving your precious staff behind. Is that where all your courage comes from?
Listen to me, Raziel. You don't know what you're doing. I have taken an enormous risk by appearing here before you, so defenseless, yet eager to prove my good intentions. If there's anything left of the Seraphim in you, you won't do this. While you threaten me, your true enemy eludes you.
Don't concern yourself with Kain, old man. He'll join you in hell soon enough. As you said, death comes for us all.
Yes, the wheel of fate demands it.
What did you say?
The wheel of fate. The inexorable cycle of death and rebirth to which all men are compelled. We serve the same God, Raziel. To strike me down would be striking God's own attendant. And I don't believe even you would take that risk.
I tire of your games, Mobius. Now that I know you fear me, I needn't concern myself with you. Kain is waiting for me.
Go then, Raziel. Seek Kain out and destroy him in the name of the one God we both serve. You, who were once a Seraphim priest, murdered, profaned, destroyed, and reborn again from his mercy, you are now most powerfully equipped to be his agent, his instrument of restoration and retribution.
My own vengeance is motivation enough.
God, the freaking voice acting in this game is so good.
By my soul, you almost had me, my little blue assassin. But that'll be the one and only chance you get. I assure you of that.
I could now summon the blade at will, regardless of my strength. But once summoned, the blade's ravenous appetite could not be contained. It devoured the souls of its victims, and if I allowed it to become over-aroused,
the Reaver would now turn its hunger on me.
They're using the word aroused a little bit too often, I'm gonna say this much. Yeah, the voice acting in this game is... it's godly, dude. I love the voice acting in this game. Absolutely.
So this was the legendary Janos Audrin, reputed to have been the most ancient and diabolical vampire to have ever existed. According to folklore, he lived high in the cliffs of Nosgoth's northern mountains and preyed mercilessly on the defenseless villages below. His reign of terror ended when the Sarafan finally hunted him down and tore his throbbing heart from his still-living body. This relic came to be known as the Heart of Darkness and was supposedly imbued with the power to restore vampiric unlife. The Sarafan therefore guarded it carefully, lest the heart fall into the hands of their enemies. But I wondered, could Janos Audrin truly have been as monstrous as depicted here? Or was this merely artistic license by the Sarafan, who sought to lionize themselves by demonizing their darkest enemy?
Yeah, I don't know if I wanted to play Diablo 2 Resurrected. At this point I have my doubts if I'm gonna grab it, considering Blizzard have became pretty much a vague shadow of itself than what it was before. Can I go over here? I mean, there's another door that was on the side. This is the main chamber I came through and has some weapons. I think I'm gonna pick this weapon, because I definitely feel more confident with the regular weapons rather than having the Soul Reaver. Soul Reaver in this game is more of a bud and a plot device than a useful weapon. Yeah, I'm going to quickly exchange that for the sword. Also, it's double tap for this. Okay. We're actually gonna do this and pick up your sword because I prefer swords over that weapon. It's some updating recently. Nice. I mean, I would need to like buy the game first, and I'll probably have to like pick up a build that I would like to play. Probably I would go for Summon Necromancer and...
Strange how my history came full circle. This chapel, I realized, was a memorial to my former Sarafan brethren and myself. All of us martyred here, and then so cruelly profaned by Kain when he imposed his gift on our noble corpses. For the first time, I beheld the image of my Sarafan self, memorialized here among my fallen comrades. It tortured me to see how noble and pure I had been, and what a vile phantasm I had become, and a profound sense of injury, of loss and betrayal welled up in me, so overwhelming I could barely contain it. All I wanted at this moment was to find Kain and destroy him.
Oh, you son of a... I just want to eat. Oh my god. The controls are so janky. Like I'm trying to go to the right and but the controls are pushing me forward all the time. Yeah, and that second soul just went to hell. Right? Yeah, I don't know if I would play Diablo 2. Even like I said, even if I would play Diablo 2, it would be most likely Summon Necromancer of debuffs. all the debuffs because I would not play Diablo 2 alone, because I think playing Diablo 2 alone is kind of... I don't know, it would be kind of boring to me, and I would not find it that attractive. Also, I don't have money to buy video games. Because every single thing that I'm earning, I usually spend it on bills and keeping money for the next month so I can buy food, you know, that stuff. That's pretty much my entire Twitch earnings.
First time beheld Nosgoth in its former glory. The land overflowed with abundant life and vitality, and I knew with certainty then that the world I had left behind was nothing more than the corpse of Nosgoth, a lifeless husk bled dry by the corruption of Kain's parasitic empire. This was the fragile world Kain sacrificed to preserve his own petty life and ambition, heedless of the profound cost. The sight only deepened my resolve. I sensed that the pillars lay to the northwest. If Kain truly waited to confront me there, I would not disappoint him.
And I can already see the first save point, I think. I wish that camera controls were like in the first Legacy of Kain. You basically press R2 and L2 and R2, and then you use the controls to actually see what you want. Here it is. I think here in the second game is unnecessarily complicated with the pressing the L3, because when you're pressing the L3, your finger is going to slip. It is unavoidable. Your finger is just going to slip. Fish. All the fish.
As I passed this arcane landmark, a wisp of the Reaver's energy was drawn to the ring, illuminating it. This created a beacon of sorts in the spirit world. If ever I found myself depleted in the spectral realm, and my soul tossed on the ethereal winds, these beacons would draw me back to safety and restore me.
Yeah, basically a checkpoint of sorts. No, it really doesn't. The software... The fuck is that? The software that I have, it's called X Input, I think. But its schematics are very, very vague. It's not like it tells you, hey, this button on the keyboard is this button on the controller, or this button on the Xbox controller is this button on the PlayStation 2 controller. It doesn't tell you that. It just tells you button X26, and good luck figuring out what you need to do. That's pretty much all there is that you have. This is not the door that I opened, isn't it? No, Fallout 4 is not complete. Oh, well, that's a familiar sign. Oh, okay, it was the middle gate that was open. I didn't notice. Not really a big fan of the analog controls in the games like this. I'm actually gonna try something. Can I switch this to directional controls? Because I think directional controls are just better. Configure gamepad. Action, crouch, block. Yeah, I cannot really do anything with that. It's only a ring menu. Configure keyboard? No, that's gonna also be come back. Yeah, not really a lot of options for the configuration with the old video game like this. So I guess I just need to kind of deal with it. technically speaking, there's not a lot that I can do to change it. Yeah, configuring the X input, especially the one that I was supposed to use, that was, well, sadly it is what it is, you know. I'm gonna play with the analog, though I definitely would prefer to use the D-pad over the analog controller. I think those are safe spots.
These ancient obelisks were mysteriously attuned to my spiritual essence. By simply touching the symbol, I could safely preserve an imprint of my soul, and thus create a milestone to which I could return when weary, and from which I could resume my journey.
Also, I'm not gonna talk too much while the cutscenes are happening. Because if I'm gonna talk throughout the cutscenes, that's gonna basically ruin the entire voice acting, and I don't want that to happen. Oh my god, the camera controls. I really want to like look up, but the analog controller looking is just dreadful.
While I had only just escaped the stronghold, I sensed that in time my journey would return me full circle to this place. Infiltrating the fortress, however, would be no small feat. The balcony that had provided my escape was now well beyond my reach, leaving this massive gateway as the only means of entry. The gates were sealed, but like the time-streaming chamber I had seen earlier, their operation was undoubtedly linked to that odd crystal mounted above the entrance.
I'm playing video games according to the schedule. If you're on my Discord, you will know that what kind of schedule I have. I'm gonna die here, Jesus. Okay, so that's lady number one. I need to collect more souls. We got somebody with a freaking gun over there. It's either that corpse or somebody with a gun. Yeah, I think that's a dead corpse. There we go. The more health, the merrier. And that's a definitely impaled vampire. That's a guy with a gun. Yep. I think he's using some kind of blunderbuss. The fact that he's able to freaking use it is absolutely amazing. Very good music. Come here, come here. Yeah, I think against those ladies I need to use like double dodges. Yeah, she's learnable. I can definitely learn how to avoid her attacks. Wait, did that bird just disappear into like the green cloud or something? Can I approach you? Oh, yes you did. Oh, yes you did. Okay, there's knowing Legacy of Kain, there's some kind of plot device hidden beside it. Or they did that because they wanted to conserve resources. Knowing life, they actually wanted to strike two birds with one stone. And so they did both. But sure, PlayStation 2 was a pretty... PlayStation 2 was a very good hardware for its time. But still did not allow doing some crazy things like the PC could allow, I guess. What's this? I think it's just some kind of altar. This altar looks like something could actually fit into those little holes over here, and then again it could be just an indentation. You know, a little bit of a decorative stuff. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get used to the combat. Of course, the further I move into the game, if there's one thing that I still remember about this game after all these years, the more progress I make, the more aggressive the enemies will become. And they will become aggressive, it's like super aggressive. Especially the final enemies in the game. The final enemies in this game are absolutely brutal. Well, that pushed me all the way down. That's probably a soul I'm not going to be able to collect. But it's fine. Not every soul is going to be... Not every soul is made for me, I guess. Over there. Yoink.
These vampires had nothing in common with the deranged jackals I left behind in Kain's derelict empire. They seemed to retain much of their former humanity. In this era, vampires were clearly not the uncontested predators we had been. These creatures were hunted mercilessly and oppressed. And while I still believed that vampirism was a plague and had to be wiped out, there was nothing noble or righteous in this crusade. This was simply ruthless persecution.
That looks familiar. No, you. I actually really like how they still managed to make this HUD very minimalistic. Yeah, her attacks are super merciless, man. She's very strong for the very beginning of the game. Holy crap. Okay, so I need to hold to operate the door. Okay, fine. Also, like I said, I refuse to use the Reaver unless I really have to.
The pillars of Nosgoth. Pristine, whole, and uncorrupted. I had never beheld them in this undefiled state, yet something profound and indelible resonated within me at the sight. And there, waiting at the very heart of the pillars, was the canker that was destined to destroy them.
I know you're there, Raziel.
Mobius led me to you, Kain, though I might have guessed you'd meet me here.
And if Mobius told you I was hidden on the underside of hell, would you throw yourself into oblivion to pursue me? Mobius trawls for the ignorant and unwary, hauling his gasping prey from the streams of their destinies. Stay out of his net, Raziel.
Spare me your elaborate metaphors, Kain. I have pursued you here for one purpose. You will pay for your betrayal, and balance will thus be restored to Nosgoth.
And whose will is satisfied then? The will of Raziel or Mobius?
Would I be better manipulated by you, Kain? Now, turn and face me. The chase is over.
This isn't a chase, Raziel. We are merely passengers on the wheel of destiny, describing a perfect circle to this point. We've been brought here for a reason. I've seen the beginning and the end of our story, however, and the tale is crude and ill-conceived. We must rewrite the ending of it. You and I.
Face me, Kain. Even you shouldn't die a coward's death.
Isn't it customary to grant the condemned a final request?
I recall no such courtesy from you.
Indulge me, Raziel. All I ask is that you listen. This is the sublime moment of our undoing, Raziel. The ineffable fulcrum upon which swings the entirety of our history. This is where all of Nosgoth is betrayed. In this instant, Ariel, the Balance Guardian, is murdered by dark forces bent on overthrowing the Pillars. Her spirit is just now tearing free, lost in the ether, trying to find its way here. You have already seen how she comes to haunt these Pillars.
Bound here by your refusal to die. You are the reason this land becomes diseased. As long as you remain alive, you condemn Nosgoth to an eternity of decay.
Be still, Raziel. See this. As Ariel dies, I am being born to take her place as Balance Guardian. Such is my destiny.
My God.
At the moment of my first cry, Ariel's beloved, the Guardian Nupraptor, finds her corpse. Racked with grief and tormented by suspicions of treachery, Nupraptor plunges into a madness which overflows and infects all of the Guardians who are symbiotically bound, including me. The repercussions of Ariel's assassination were expertly calculated. The entire circle descends into madness, and I am tainted at the moment of my birth, instantly rendered incapable of fulfilling the role destiny has prepared for me.
Shall I show you the same mercy you showed the rest of the circle, then? You blithely murdered them to restore their pillars, yet your hand faltered when it came to the final sacrifice. What makes you exempt, Kain? You're merely the last man standing. Why condemn me for simply carrying out what you hadn't the courage to do yourself?
Let's drop the moral posturing, shall we? We both know there's no altruism in this pursuit. Your reckless indignation led you here. I counted on it. There's no shame in it, Raziel. Revenge is motivation enough. At least it's honest. Hate me, but do it honestly. 30 years hence, I am presented with a dilemma. Let's call it a two-sided coin. If the coin falls one way, I sacrifice myself and thus restore the pillars. But as the last surviving vampire in Nosgoth, this would mean the annihilation of our species. Mobius made sure of that. If the coin lands on the reverse, I refuse the sacrifice and thus doom the pillars to an eternity of collapse. Either way, the game is rigged.
We agree, then, that the pillars are crucial and must be restored.
Yes, Raziel. And that's why we've come full circle to this place.
So after all this, you make my case for me. To end this stalemate, you must die so that new Guardians can be born.
pillars don't belong to them, Raziel. They belong to us.
Your arrogance is boundless, Kain.
There's a third option. A monumental secret hidden in your very presence here. But it's a secret you have to discover for yourself. Unearth your destiny, Raziel. It's all laid out for you here.
You said it yourself, Kain. There are only two sides to your coin.
Apparently so. But suppose you throw a coin enough times. Suppose one day it lands on its edge.
Hey Mala. Yeah, this game is looking pretty good for, you know, the 21 years.
I didn't
definitely
know
looks
what
good.
impulse stayed my hand, why I had so willingly allowed Kain to escape me when I had pursued him for so long. I had no reason to trust Kain after he had valued me so little, and yet I found myself intrigued by his words. I had been too cruelly used to so gullibly play his pawn, but if this world truly had secrets to divulge, I was determined to expose them.
Okay, so Kain, by the way, this was like probably one of the best cutscenes I have seen in a long while, and I do recognize the actor because he was playing the same character in Soul Reaver 1. Simon Templeman, probably one of my favorite voice actors to ever in existence. That's interesting. I thought the Ariel was gonna be already here because maybe we haven't found her yet. Maybe we need to find her maybe a little bit later in the game because Kain said her soul is already entrapped with the Pillars of Nosgoth. Oh boy. Oh, Slua. Haven't seen these guys in a while. Yeah, they definitely look at... Oh boy, they definitely look more terrifying, but their movement set is still as silly as it was before. And the Reaver movement set is just as janky as it was in the first game. I mean, in this game it's actually a little bit better, because in the first Story Reaver game it was something like this. 1, 2... It was 1 and then second attack. Very, very slow. Here it's 1, 2, 1, 2. They're a little bit faster. So I can definitely appreciate that.
From the moment of my arrival, I had the constant and palpable sensation of being watched. Someone, it seemed,
It's the
was
Institute.
keenly interested in my presence here.
It's the Institute Crows, man. Okay, so this is pretty much a checkpoint. Should I go this way? It's one way to find out, I suppose.
From the look of it, this door had been sealed for centuries. I began to realize it was no mere coincidence that I found myself standing here, beneath this winged figure with blue skin and cloven hands so like my own, and bearing this unique key. And so it was with a sense of gravity and trepidation that I unsealed that ancient door and crossed the threshold.
Also, by the way, besides platforming, you guys have to consider one thing. This is also a puzzle game. And like, what the hell is that? That looks like an enemy. That doesn't really look very friendly. I do believe it's an enemy. But then, yeah, now it's moving. Yep. Yeah, and those things don't even, like, emanate any souls. They're like shadows. Or at least they're acting like shadows. Can I go up that? Nope. Is this the... this must be the entrance. Isn't it? Yeah, this was the entrance. So, I think... yeah, I need to go this way. Even more shadowy figures. Oh, no. I need to be careful with my health here. There's no way for me to heal over here. Hey, Sid. Yeah, narration is very good. Oh boy. Oh damn. Yeah. The soul reaver is being overcharged. It's gonna try to consume my own soul if I'm gonna let it screw around like this.
As I entered the chamber, I sensed that it had been sealed for hundreds, perhaps thousands of years. And while this room was clearly built when the pillars were erected, I knew that no human hand could have shaped this place, and that perhaps it had never been seen by human eyes. The surrounding murals depicted a winged race, their features so like my own, but beautiful, where mine were grotesque, and angelic, while mine were demonic. I tried to decipher these images. A great war, but with combatants like none I had ever seen. The pillars, raised by this winged race, who thus defeated their adversaries. The winged beings again, writhing in agony, apparently afflicted with the same bloodthirst I had so recently suffered. And throughout the chamber, inscribed everywhere, images of the Reaver itself. Was this what Kain had urged me to discover? I wondered.
Lies, Raziel.
That's Tony J. I can recognize that voice.
Do not be deceived.
Ah, my ancient benefactor. And I dared to hope we had parted ways forever. Your silence was refreshing, but it lasted. No doubt you have a conveniently inexpressible reason for your presence here.
Do not be insolent, Raziel. I am eternally present here and everywhere, now and always. I am the still center of the turning wheel, the hub of this world's destiny.
But perhaps not so omnipotent as you'd have me believe. Your hold on me appears to be tenuous. I no longer seem to need you. Yet I'm guessing you still need me.
This impudence is unworthy of you, Raziel. Do not forget that you have a task to fulfill here. You are indebted to me.
Indebted? You would have me show gratitude for a gift I didn't ask to be bestowed. Do you forget that you forced me to inhabit this vile carcass?
I restored you to yourself, Raziel. It was Kain who destroyed you. The very enemy you've just let slip through your grasp. Do not fail me, my servant.
I serve no one. Not you, not Kain, and not your lackey Mobius.
Mobius is my good servant. I have many.
And if I tell Mobius that he's worshipping a giant squid, do you think his faith will falter?
You have grown willful, Raziel. But beware. To embrace a serpent is to invite poison into your heart. Kain is a sinuous beast. He will seduce and deceive you. You pride yourself on your free will,
yet you let that degenerate deter your resolve.
I harbor no illusions about his integrity, nor anyone else's. In fact, I am beset by manipulation on all sides. I merely seek the truth.
These are the fathomless truths, Raziel. The agony of birth and death and rebirth. This is the wheel of fate, the purifying cycle which sustains all life. Vampires are an abomination, a plague which leeches this land of its spiritual strength. They obstruct the flow of life and death. Their souls stagnate in their wretched corpses. But the wheel must turn. Death is inexorable and cannot be denied. Your destiny is irresistible, Raziel. You are my soul reaver, the scourge of the vampires, reaper of their apostate souls. Remain steadfast, end the vampire's parasitic curse, and restore Nosgoth. Kain's blood belongs on your hands.
Kain indeed deserves to die for condemning me to this repugnant form, but if and when I kill him, it will be for me alone to decide.
Kain destroyed you without a flicker of remorse. He tore the soul from your noble corpse, and after you had served him faithfully for 1,000 years, he discarded you in the abyss on a jealous whim. Remember your rage, Raziel. Let it guide your hand.
The good thing that I have noticed, throughout the cutscenes, you can see that the game actually gives you an advice on where you need to go. It's either hidden in the background, or it's the camera angle is gonna tell you that, hey, you're supposed to go this way, you know, to proceed forward. Or there's a safe spot right over there. The other thing that I have noticed is that in Soul Reaver 1, Raziel wasn't so freaking cocky and a little bit arrogant towards the Elder God, while here he actually shows that he doesn't give a damn. The Raziel just become an absolute alpha, and he just doesn't want to listen to anybody else. It really feels that way, at least. It's the second safe spot of the game. Let's go into underwater. And that's the Elder God. It's funny how the positioning of the Elder God is kind of interesting. And what do I mean by that? Oh, I cannot swim down there? Oh, that's interesting. Oh no, I can. The positioning of the Elder God is kind of interesting. He just wrapped himself around the pillars at the exact day the pillars got corrupted. And the moment that the Ariel have done... Wow. Okay, I never heard that. Destroy Kain. I was still trying to find some kind of like sound effects or voice lines from this game. I couldn't find any. So I would use them either for a follower command, or subs, or bits, or anything like that. I should need some for bits. And I would love to find something from the from this game. Hold up. Okay, I see where I need to go. Oh boy. That's not good. Yeah, I never played any short games. My first PC that I ever got was from was in 2007. And after that, the only like tangible game console or anything like that was my PlayStation 1, which I got since I was at the age of 8. No, oh shit. Okay, ooh, I can climb this. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I need to calm down the Reaver a little bit. Also, I'm on a relatively low health. Not a very big fan of... What the hell is this? Look at gigantic freaking urn. Holy crap. Yeah, there are a lot of holes like this. I remember that this game also have different Reavers. When Soul Reaver 1 you only had like one possible Reaver to get, it was a Fire Forge. In this game you have like several other types of a Soul Reaver. I really like it, I really enjoy that. You could even get a different type of Reavers in the Defiance. I do remember because I beat Defiance, I think like 5 years ago. Okay, I don't think there's anything in this room. Maybe I need to swim around a little bit more and figure out. I'm gonna do a playthrough of Defiance sometime in the future. That's definitely gonna happen. Basically, for now, I have like a different schedule of the video games that I want to play, and that's all there is to it. The one problem with me is that I stopped playing the games like, you know, regularly, and by regularly I mean, you know, beat the one game at all difficulties first, then try the second game, and so on and so forth. I should stop playing just random games. Should just keep the schedule on the weekends. And then again, I also believe that if I would start keeping the schedule on the weekends, that would kind of kill the entire point of playing this games like this during the weekends. Basically playing them because I want to, not because anything else. This is actually so dark, I don't really know where I am anymore. I have Legacy of Kain Defiance, and surprisingly it works very well on Windows 10. So yeah, I think I would play it. But first I need to like find a will to play it. Because the games that I'm playing throughout the weekend, those are only the games that I actually want to play at that time. I really wish I could suck the things inside or something. Because I'm very, very low on health. This took me all the way back. Action to view map. Oh yeah, no, that map doesn't really help me. Because it's a map of the world, it's not a map of a single location. Oh boy. And there's more of them. Oh yeah, I'm dead. I mean, technically you cannot really die in this game. But the camera is, oh my god. I don't like the camera in this game. I'm gonna say it openly, the camera in this game leaves a lot to be desired. The FOV is so bad. I mean, okay, I cannot get back over here. That's impossible. Okay, I cannot allow myself to attack anymore. It's more than likely that I'm gonna go to the Spectral Realm. Yeah, I'm just gonna avoid attacking these guys. There's no way. There's basically no way I can survive any attacks. I'm on like maybe 2-3% of health. And the health is constantly dropping, so it's more than likely that I'm going to go to Spectral Realm. To be quite fair, I really don't know where I need to go. It feels like I need to go this way. This is the only direction I know. Yeah, I need to restore my health. Somehow. And that's gonna do it. Also, in the Spectral Realm, the water is transparent. I need to try to find my way around. That's a thick boy. Oh yeah, other things that enemies can do. They can actually dodge my attack. Okay, now that I have a full health, I don't think I need to be here. I'm gonna try to use the Spectral Realm as much as I can. So maybe I need to go through here, and I just didn't notice that. Or maybe not. Because this doesn't really help me at all. This is the same chamber room that I went into. What you guys need to remember is that I'm most of the time playing video games because I want to play them. Yeah, I don't think there's like any other good way to get through this entire area. I haven't found anything else. I think I need to head back to the pillars. I really don't see any other path. Stream title. Yeah, I need to swim back to the pillars. I don't think there's, like, anything that could help me here. At least I know about this chamber, but there's nothing about it. I'm starting to avoid these guys. The shadows? Nah. I think I need to get all the way back to the pillars again. Somehow. The lighting is also very, very bad because I can barely see where I need to go. Maybe it's only because of this area, but the lighting, it leaves a little bit to be desired, not gonna lie. But there must be something about this entire section over here. I mean, the game would not display me this section without a reason, right? So if I will be able to come back, that's great. Yeah, let me save the game. Yep, save. I think I must return to the pillars. I see really no other way around. The funny thing is, the music has stopped playing. Don't know why. That might be a bug within the game. Because I genuinely don't know why it doesn't want to play anymore. Not even during the combat, surprisingly enough. Oh, there we go. That's the music. Can I use the Reaver again to get out? Yes, I can. I'm gonna try to return to the pillars. Maybe that's gonna help me with something. Kind of doubt it, but I'm gonna be honest, I really have no idea where to go. Maybe now I can talk to Ariel. Because I cannot come back to the Servant Fortress. Well, platform PC. I don't know, should I use the spectral world over here now? It doesn't do anything. Well, I can't. Okay, I definitely cannot come back to the fortress. That's definitely a thing, because even Raziel says that the path to the fortress is now permanently locked. I cannot get back over that. So it's still that cave, but that cave leads me nowhere too. What the fuck? I mean, what if there's like another path from here, somewhere around over here, maybe? No, it seems like the pillars are pretty much locked off by the terrain, so I cannot get through here. Yeah, I don't know what about this cave. I'm lost. I might need to use the guide, because I'm really, really lost. Yeah, I can ignore these guys. As long as I have full health, I can just ignore them. So I cannot go up there, because that's a locked terrain. Yeah, that's a locked terrain. If I'm slipping off something, that means I cannot go through there. Yeah, it all leads me over here. Like, this is the only passage that I can take. Okay, I guess let's try to keep on searching. And if I'm not gonna find anything inside of this area, I'm just gonna try to get back even further from the pillars, because I really don't know. It's not even like a good beginning of the game. It's like maybe 1 hour of the game and I'm already so lost I don't know really where to go. Because even if I'm gonna use the map doesn't really tell me where to go. It really doesn't give me a good instruction about where should I be or where should I go. It tells me where I currently am. yeah, I cannot even teleport because it only gives me like a wee bit of information. And that's it. Like, that's the entire map. I wish there was like a map that would tell me my surrounding area, because compass doesn't help me that much. Yeah, the music for some reason is like just getting absolutely disabled in here instead of playing. I wonder why. Okay, so this is this cave. But what if there's a second cave somewhere around?
Your destiny beckons.
Nah, I don't see any other. This must be the way forward. I mean, there's nothing else. There's really nothing else. But the thing is, there's like no middle entrance anywhere. It only leads me up. This is like the only way I can take. Nothing over here that would give me a guidance of a direction or anything. Like, that doesn't really help me, because I thought that from here I could like jump somewhere forward, but there's nothing. There's no ledge that will aim me forward. So, taking speed, I cannot use it. And oh my god, looking with the analog, I'm really getting annoyed with the controls for this game. I really am. The camera point of view in Soul Reaver 1 was a crucial thing to have. In here, because they decided to use just analog controls, they decided to fuck it up. And they fucked it up so badly too. Okay, so we are here, inside of this. And what next? This is this little fountain over here, but it must be used for something else later. There's nothing else, no other cave, nothing over here that could help me. I don't have the appropriate item or anything like that to even unlock this place. And this is like the only thing I can use to move forward. Yeah, this is like this is the only cave that leads me remotely somewhere else. I think I need to move further from the pillars. Very, very further from the pillars. Unless I'm missing something and I don't see like a way to swim up, maybe? We got this chick. Oh yes, oh yes. Oh yes, I did not look high enough, it seems. I think I need to follow those glowing rocks to find my exit. Sounds like a good idea. Yeah, this must be a way forward. Can I use this torch? Oh yes. This actually reminds me of Soul Reaver 1, the good old days of torch. I actually wonder if in this game they did something about it. Because in Soul Reaver 1, torch was pretty much a one-time use weapon against the vampires. Oh boy.
I surfaced into a very different landscape. The daylight barely penetrated the dense canopy of this forest. Here I discovered an ancient ruin, unmistakably one of Mobius's time-streaming chambers, but long ago sealed and abandoned to the encroaching swamp. I didn't currently possess the means to break this seal, but I thought in time that I might.
I simply need to look a little bit better next time. Ooh, that's a bog. Yeah, if I'm gonna slip into the bog, my movement speed is terribly reduced.
Here it comes.
Yeah, I need to find a weapon. There we go. Now you're gonna die. There we go. Thank you for your food. Okay, this door looks inconspicuous. It's like I need to throw something on it. Or maybe, just maybe... No, it really feels like I have to like throw something at it. Maybe there's an item around. Okay, let's take a look around, because this is the way I entered, because I noticed the checkpoint thingy. There's something over there. Let me take a look. No, that's a little froggy. I'm not gonna kill the froggy. But yeah, I need to avoid the swamps. Because those things are reducing my movement speed quite dramatically. Hey, Ender. Hold up, so if he kicked this door, why can't he kick up this freaking broken wall back then?
So, my lurking observer was exposed. The creature vanished when he realized he was discovered, but I caught a glimpse of him, and his features were distinctive enough. This was the vampire Vorador, the monstrous assassin depicted in the stronghold. Strange that a creature brazen enough to assault the circle single-handedly would avoid confronting me. Very well. If Vorador would not come to me, I would go to him. But first I needed to find some means of reaching that terrace.
Yeah, also finds a way to heal myself. Anyway, that was the vampire Vorador. Vorador was basically the one that killed the entire circle in the Blood Omen. He was not present in Soul Reaver 1. It doesn't matter, the door was like barely broken. And, you know, you might be actually a little bit right. Maybe I'm looking a little bit too deeply into this. Because let's not forget, this is a game from 2001, 2002. I probably shouldn't look way too deeply into this. I should just basically go with what we have. This is basically something that I need to probably find some kind of unlockable power on some kind of item that will unlock me to go through that. I kind of don't see any other explanation. Lock on the target. Game. I seem to be slowly forgetting that this is also a very huge puzzle game on top of being a platformer with an amazing theme and very good story. I'm trying to imply way too much logic into this. But it's fine. How much do I know? I know the entire story of the Legacy of Kain. I know the characters. I do remember all the abilities from all the games, but my problem is that I don't remember like how to play this game. Hence why I'm replaying this after like over at least 8 years. I haven't played this game in 8 years. I played this game for the first time on my second PC ever. Hey, sweet. So this is a vampire game never heard of. No, this is not really a vampire. Raziel is pretty much a wraith. And Vorador is, depending on the timeline, he is technically the last of the vampires. He was raised by Janos Audren. One of the first humans, actual humans, that was raised by Janos Audren, and also he was a forger, the entity that have created the Soul Reaver blade. Besides, Legacy of Kain is one of my favorite series of all time. I'm not including the Blood Omen 2 because Blood Omen 2 is a no. I cannot stand Blood Omen 2. I just cannot stand it. Blood Omen 2 is even a bigger jank than this game.
Here's one.
And this game is not perfect, but I would say this much, it's definitely an improvement to the Soul Reaver 1. But there are some attributes when it comes to the controls of this game that I will keep from the original game. Like I said, instead of aiming with the camera with the R3 and then moving up and down, just keep it to R2, Alt2, R2, and then moving the analog stick. It is something that I would love to like return, but I don't even know how to do it. Running this game on a modern PC is already a challenge, because this game has 100% guaranteed chance on crashing on you if you're not running this game on less than 2 cores.
There appeared to be a passage here, leading northward into the mountains. The opening, however, was obstructed and too high for me to reach. Perhaps later I would find the means to bypass these obstacles.
Hey, Julie. How are you doing? This is one of my favorites. It has. I will say this. This, when it comes to the writing, voice acting, this is technically the best game ever. Gameplay-wise, a little bit more janky. I would say, I'm still willing to say that this game was a Dark Souls before Dark Souls was even a thing. Not because of the theme or anything like that, but mostly because of the combat system. Because the combat system is very reminiscent of the Dark Souls. Like in Dark Souls, you have to lock on the enemy and then you move around him and then you perform attacks at a specific timing. Dark Souls games, Elden Ring games, it's the same thing. The thing is, in Dark Souls, you had such an advanced technology that the enemies that you are fighting with and you as a player could perform much many more move sets than the game from like 2000, 2003, 2002 or 2005, if I'm correct, Defiance was released. But yeah, this is pretty much why I also enjoy Dark Souls, because this game has like at least like a blueprint of what the controls were. Of course, with some kind of jank. Up. Oh my goodness. Like here, I'm trying to dodge the attack and the game is like, no you won't. Hey Mango. And so it's technically not finished. It's like, yeah, Soul Reaver 2 was kind of rushed, from what I know. Because basically, studio was making 2 games at the same time. And they released 2 games in a span of 2 years instead of spending more time on the development of those games. At least you're not complaining about Fallout. Wow. I'm always gonna complain about Fallout, dude. Fallout 4 is such a freaking wasted potential, and I'm always gonna complain about it. Fallout 3 was Fallout 3.
My friend was nowhere to be seen, but I found these ruins even more intriguing. I recognized these arcane symbols from the chamber beneath the pillars, and realized that this shrine too was sealed to all but the bearer of the Reaver.
I'm doing okay, Mango. Hope you're doing well. I hope everybody's doing well today. Yeah, I think I need to use the Reaver on this door. And I cannot bring this weapon with me. Hold up. It's crouch and then drop the gun. Okay. Drop the gun, by the way. I'm always gonna complain about Fallout 4. You ain't gonna stop me, dude. Because I always, despite all the things that I say about Fallout 4 and how badly incompetent the making of the game is, this game, Fallout 4, is still has a very hidden potential. A very, very hidden potential. A potential that was not utilized properly. And it's very sad. My voice is amazing. Okay, let me drop this voice acting. I'm gonna be like, okay, now my natural voice kicks in. Hi guys, welcome to my stream. Oh, you guys want to see my Pokemon cards? Yeah, we need to go to the spectrum for this one. And also have conflicting timelines because of the games being worked on 2 different teams. Kind of, yeah. It's kind of hard to figure out where the Blood Omen 2 should be placed. Because it's definitely the Blood Omen 2 definitely happens between Blood Omen 1 and the Soul Reaver. So that's pretty much a guaranteed, but anything else about that can be said, or I can say. Because it's pretty much an unknown entity to me. Also, I don't really consider Blood Omen 2 to be in any way a part of the story of the Legacy of Kain. I don't like this game. I only feel bad that Simon Templeman got hired to voice act the Kain in Blood Omen 2. That's probably the only thing that I truly feel bad for. Everything else, it's alright. Okay, first I want to take a look at the rest of this area. What's this? I mean, this is definitely a checkpoint of sorts. Can I enter through this door? No. During the cutscene we have noticed that there's a plate. I think I need to deliver this plate all the way over here somehow. Okay, so we got those demons. Can I pick up one of your swords, please? That would be really nice. Oh yeah, it takes actually quite a long time to defeat them with this blade. Holy crap. I mean, then again, why should I be surprised? This sword is so janky. And not in a bad way, because it makes sense. Because it's a broken sword. Okay, give me the souls. 1 and 2. Great. Don't really know a lot about development process. I never really care about the development process in video games. Unless something is really screwed up.
Throughout this ancient shrine, murals depicted the winged race and the apocalyptic war against their mysterious and equally inhuman adversaries. These winged beings, it seemed, were not only the architects of the pillars, but of this enigmatic place as well. And just as in the pillar's chamber, this shrine was adorned throughout with imagery of the Reaver, depicted with the reverence of a holy icon.
Also, voice actor that was, what was the name of voice actor for Raziel? I think his name was Michael Bell. Yeah, Michael Bell. Oh boy. I see a new weapon that I want to pick. Assuming that I can pick it up. Well, this guy is definitely half the man he used to be. Can I pick it up? Please tell me I can pick it up. Oh yes, please and thank you. Now I have something better. a spoon sugar with sugar on it, or some freaking blueberry lollipop. Oh, okay. Look at that! You get a crystal over here. It seems like this is some kind of a focusing lens. Even though it has no right to work as a focusing lens, because the way this crystal is constructed, it's gonna more likely highlight the entire room rather than focus the light in one point. But it's me being pedantic about the details, and it should be ignored because I'm a complainer. I like to complain. Action to rotate. Hey Gaddison. The Embracer bought Eidos Crystal Dynamics, another IP. They bought it from the Square Enix? Wait, Square Enix actually lost Eidos and Crystal Dynamics? You got to be kidding me. Oh. I think I see what it is. It's like, well, obviously this is the time door. So Eidos, the Crystal Dynamics, the Square Montreal. Also Square Bruh. Okay, maybe with addition, with enough budget, quite honestly, we might get another Deus Ex game, a proper one. Okay, so okay, I know where I need to deliver that one plate that was showed to me. And most likely, I'm gonna have to like speedrun this, kind of, not really. Because I'm gonna open this door, and this door has a timer. Just enough time for me to possibly only pick up this and just go through. Yep, it's gonna lock. I think this is why this door was highlighted. I need to find that focusing lens. It was showing at the beginning of the cutscene that it was somewhere further in the area. How many Legacies have you played? I have played Blood Omen a few times on PlayStation 1. My most played Legacy of Kain game is Soul Reaver 1. I can pretty much, if my memory is gonna work with me, I can 100% this game in 7 hours, including like all the secrets and all the health glyphs and all the energy glyphs and whatnot. Soul Reaver 2 I only have played through once, and was like it was like maybe 2009, 2008 since the last time I played this game. How do we get to this then? There must be some kind of a ledge to go up. And I think I have beaten Defiance once, a couple years back. But I do remember the story of it. Because I'm paying a lot of attention to stuff like this. There must be a different way to get to that thing. Yeah, there's like a section upstairs, maybe. But first I need to figure out the way to go upstairs. I mean, there are pillars over here, so that should help, right? Right. I mean, okay, obviously we cannot get on this one. There's a climbable wall over here. Maybe through here. Play this game in Defiance. Nice. You should try to grab yourself a Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1. The problem with obtaining the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 is that it used to be... Jesus. It used to be on Nexus. This game used to be... not on Nexus. This game used to be available on Steam, but because of some kind of copyright issue, when it comes to the initial cutscene, Soul Reaver 1 got taken down last year on March, and we pretty much still in the situation where we are politely waiting for some kind of action from Square Enix for this to happen. But as you said, if the Square Enix got bought off by somebody else, now we don't know if that ever gonna get resolved, and we don't know if we ever gonna get re-released Legacy of Kain Story Reaver 1. If not on Steam, then most likely on GOG. Story 1 and Blood Omen 2. Nice. Well, okay, toss the Blood Omen 2 out of the window. Do yourself a pleasure. Do yourself a service and just throw the Blood Omen 2. Just never play them? I would recommend playing it. Okay, but okay, so this leads me over here, and it seems like there's no really other paths to take. There must be something about this room over here. Because I cannot move this moon. I can rotate the other thingamajig. I can open this door for obvious reasons, but probably not so real obvious. Action to rotate. Oh, okay, so the light is already shining on this. Okay, so if this opened this door, that means the other door can also be opened. Fine, fair enough. Let's see what we have available then. Just puked on me. Okay, where's that puker? Give me your shit. Oh, you ain't gonna escape from me. Yeah, you have to fight with the camera angles a little bit in this game. Just a little bit. I just noticed that they were cheap to buy. Okay, not this weapon. I noticed that the Soul Reaver 2 and Defiance was like stupid cheap to buy on Steam, so I was like, yeah, hell yeah. I'll buy that for $1. Huh, what do we have here? Some kind of a torch, but I don't know if I can gain an access to it. I definitely cannot gain an access to it right now, but can I use the Spectral Realm? Oh, there's the fire. And I've noticed something blue on that wall, or something green. And so this leads me over here, obviously. I need to find that teleporter back to the material realm, I suppose. Now that I have a full health, I can ignore all those enemies. There's no need to fight them. There we go. That's the spot. I think I see my predicament. We're gonna have to go to the Spectral Realm a few times. As a standalone game, BO2 is pretty fun, but it doesn't fit with the continuity of the series. And to me, it just doesn't fit at all. Not even as a standalone. As a if the Blood Omen 2 was released as standalone, it would die in obscurity. Even if the game would be to be made in like 2002, 2003, or anything like that, the game would die in obscurity. And maybe it would survive because it would create some kind of a fan base. Yeah, I'm just gonna hop there. Okay, I can definitely fly over here. I can definitely get on the other end over here as well. It doesn't seem like it has anything good. I'm getting puked on by every living creature right now. Okay, I'm pretty sure... Oh, yeah, I screwed up a little bit. Jesus, and I thought that going to the BDS concert was bad. I'm tapping double X. I don't know why game doesn't want to react. Let's try again. Maybe I'm just not feeling it well on my thumb. There we go. And I remember that I need to get to the Spectre Realm if I want to go up there. There's a soul over there. I don't need to find any sluas. Besides, if I would go down, that would basically mean that I'm repeating the entire path all over again. Well, hello there. Okay, so where are you going? Duh. Obvious door is obvious. Okay, so now I need to... That big old sign over there. Maybe I need to aim this rotating thing on it, or maybe because there are 3 of them. Well, okay, let's try rotating. Let's see what that's gonna take me. Nope. 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 Hold up. This column's shining over here for a reason. Okay, so I need to move you somehow, somewhere. Do you have anything on top of yourself that would like give me like some kind of a tip? Maybe I need to push you to open like a door, maybe a broken wall somewhere. Hold up, let me take a look at this room. No, not really. Can I move any other pillars? Shoot projectiles at puzzle target. I don't even have the ability to shoot the projectiles. What? I don't even have the ability of the projectile. What are they talking about? I mean, I should have it considering I had it in Soul Reaver 1. And though getting the telekinesis ability was kind of weird in Soul Reaver 1, but that's besides the point. Do I need to line up those things accordingly with the little mosaics over here? Because I'm pretty sure I cannot move this one. Should the project? Yeah, thank you, game. Let me check. Can I move you? No. It seems like only this pillar can be moved. So I need to move it either to the left or to the right over there. Okay. I'm gonna try. So this is the maximum where I can move it. Let's try to rotate this. Do I allow backsitting? Only if I'm asking for it. I don't allow backsitting at all. I don't like when people tell me to, when people are telling me to do, when people are telling me what to do. I hate that. Unless I'm gonna ask for help, don't help. And that didn't help. Wait a second. There's some kind of broken wall over here, but it seems like it's also a yeah, it's just a decoration. So this cannot go over here. Unless, hold up, there's something over here. Something that I'm missing. Let me take a look, hold up. I can climb over on this. And that gives me a little bit of better view on the room. It's a little bit better view. So I definitely cannot get here into the spectral realm. Maybe I need to push it on the other end and then rotate the thingamajig. Does this pillar definitely have some kind of significance? Shoot projectiles. Yeah, I wish I had a projectile ability. Okay. I cannot move it. I cannot pull it. So this thing can only be moved through this entire line over here. I cannot do anything else with it. Interesting. Yeah, I do sincerely believe that this thing needs to be moved somewhere in the middle. Yeah, like this. Just we need to move it like that, maybe? No. Well, this didn't really done anything. The other pillars cannot be moved. Maybe I shouldn't supposed to be here in the first place. Maybe I'm missing something. Hey Wessel. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. If I could push maybe, or make this thing fall onto something. You're here for the Taco Bell? Why? Why would you punish yourself like this? Yeah, I cannot push it any way forward anymore. Maybe those torches are having something to do with this. Maybe, just maybe. But they're definitely not highlighting anything. No, this just allows me to move this somewhere else. Yeah, someone tells me that I shouldn't be here in the first place. Oh, wait. That gave me this animation, but it doesn't really finishes it. I cannot push this thing forward. I can only move it backwards. So I do truly believe that this thing needs to stay over here. Yeah, I don't think I should be in this room in the first place. There must be something about this room that I can complete a little bit later. I don't see any other way. At least we got this path unlocked. Unless I'm missing something in the zone. Chaos Gate is fun. I don't even know what what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm just gonna move forward. Maybe I'm gonna try the, I'm just simply gonna try the other door. You has brekkie? You mean the breakfast? Okay. Warhammer 40k Demon Hunters Chaos Gate. Yeah, I never played that game. Sausage, egg, and cheese. Well, that sounds good. Move the thing, Razio. Yeah, move it. Oh wait, I need to hold the button on this and then I see how it is. Okay, so this unlocked this gate over here. Yeah, I need to unlock this gate. Because I think this is the tool that I need to unlock for myself. Okay, so it's... Hold. No, this is actually the other gate, isn't it? Yes, it is. It is the other gate. No, I did not want to do that. Thank you, game. I guess now we have no other choice but to rotate this several hundred times. This gate also can be breached in the Spectral Realm, so I'm gonna try to do that. But I really doubt that by going through here, it's gonna unlock anything good, anything useful, unless I don't see like a turn over here. Oh, there is a hallway. Okay, okay, good. And that's another big old room. I really wish that the looking around was not bound to the analog 3. Okay, that's gonna get rid of them for a second. That sounds like a good looking breakfast. It's definitely gonna give you enough energy for the day. At least for a start of it. Raziel, pick it up. Because I feel more confident with any other weapon than the Soul Reaver itself. Hello. How the game was, how the game was controlled, because it's got janky controls. Just started making coffee. Sounds like a good idea. Oh, okay. Yep, these guys are dying. The other elemental reavers were actually all the elemental reavers were actually to be used in Soul Reaver 1, but they got moved to Soul Reaver 2. Soul Reaver 1 also had a lot of hidden content. Okay, so that moves me all the way back over here. Can I glide over there? Doesn't look like it. But I need to find my way to get over there anyway. I wish I could have some coffee. That looks kind of inconspicuous. Oh boy. Auto aiming video game. No, I don't want that shit. Give me my double-handed thingamajig. Okay, let me carefully look around. There must be something to help me figure out how to climb up. Oh my god, me trying to use the camera in this game. I honestly, I much prefer if I could find the button on the goddamn mouse and keyboard and try to use it from there. Nope, that's not gonna work. Jesus, I think the worst thing that the developers have done for this game is switching the camera controls. Like I said before, that is actually a thing that bothers me. Like, you had the right analog stick over here, right? The right analog stick. Oh wait, it was made in... Yeah, no. PlayStation controllers had 2 analog sticks. You have the second analog stick that you could use for, you know, operating the camera. And it's not even utilized. The second analog controller is dead. It's not even used in anything. And boy, would it, like, help with a lot of things over here. But there's this pillar over here. Hold up. Okay, I know. I probably can rotate this, can I? Yup. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. Maybe I need to rotate it in once more in a different direction. Okay, it seems like this doesn't even do a goddamn thing. But it really feels like this should be rotated maybe in a different direction. Like, over there. But no, I don't want... Oh my god, the controls. He's weak to fire as he has when he was a vampire. I mean, you still take damage from fire. That's for sure. But how do I get over there? There's nothing over here. Hold up a second. Hold up. Ha 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 ha. There we go. I is smart. I use brain. I use the brain. Yeah, the shadow pillar. The shadow pillar that I can actually step on. Okay, now I understand why the other pillar on the other side is useful. Because the similar pillar like this is going to create another shadow. And the other... Oh my goodness. Okay, it's going to create a similar shadow like this probably in the other room that I had a problem with. Okay, so it seems we have something to break over here. But he's weak to it as he was back then. I mean, everybody's weak to fire. Eventually. Yeah, this is where the light must be going. But it also means that now if I want to deliver the light over here, I'm probably need to move this pillar back where it was before. I truly believe that Raziel in the original Soul Reaver still shares the same weaknesses. Okay, that didn't really work. So there must be something missing. Maybe... Hold up. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe I need to align the other light in the same way where the shadow is falling. Maybe, just maybe. That's just a theory, though. I mean, he killed Rahab in Soul Reaver 1 and he could swim in water without any problems. He still can do this. And that's, whatever. I'm just gonna try rotate this. That doesn't really help, doesn't it? I mean, there's no way to make Raziel be resistant to fire because none of the brothers of his were resistant to fire. Hold up, what if... Can I jump over there? No, not really. It feels like this thing should be opened with something. Some kind of press, some kind of a button. You know how to solve it? Good for you. I doubt that I can push this forward, right? Yeah, you cannot push this forward. And if I'm gonna remove this, the shadow bridge is gonna disappear. And that's pretty much a guarantee. That will definitely happen. Yep, the shadow bridge is disappearing. You can have faster to fire than, let's say, the sword in the lore. Well, you can play Soul Reaver 1, and that's pretty much gonna prove it. What if I need to rotate this one? Yeah, that's also gonna make the bridge disappear. So I cannot do anything with this, I think. I think this column needs to stay at the current location as it is right now, because this is my only way to move from one point to another. But I cannot move this pillar, because then we're gonna do that. The shadow bridge is just disappearing. I cannot sunk the Reaver in fire. Or at least I don't think I can. Shoot projectiles. Yes, if I had a projectile video game, that would be great. Oh, fuck off. It feels good when the game doesn't really tell me that I have the projectile available. Oh my god. And now to fight with the controls. I hate the camera. The first-person camera controls, they are awful. They are absolutely dreadful. Okay. I noticed some kind of like a blue rain falling down. If there's something blue, that means I need to use the Reaver. I hope the less of the camera controls like this I'm gonna have in this game, the better. Because I'm gonna be honest, this is kind of...
like, me no like it. I don't wanna...
this looks like a time scale from the original Soul Reaver 1. Can I even move this? Oh, yes I can. Okay, so that moves that. Where the time scaling thingy... Where the compass went? Oh, I need to move it probably all the way over there. To the other hall, isn't it? In different... I think in opposite direction. Because I need the sunlight to aim... into that hole, because I can definitely notice that hole. Okay. So now we got this, but we still need a reflective surface for this. Besides that, I'm pretty confident that this room is pretty much clean. I don't need to be here anymore. Let me drop down. Okay, so then it's up to me to figure out the other side of the door. just old games thing. And it's fine. I can deal with that. I don't want to use this. I'm gonna... Yep. Jank. So much jank. Gotta love when the weapon always picks up the weaker weapon and the one that I really need. I genuinely think that one of the few things actually rescuing this game is a good story and the voice acting, because controls, dear lord, they're leaving a lot to be desired. No, I don't want that. And I probably shouldn't do that, too. Yeah, you're not gonna grab... Oh, you actually did grab. Wow. I'm impressed. Soul, please. This one there being funny. Well... I don't know who that person is. I see the rain now. Okay. Oh, the aiming in this game, it's gonna drive me so nuts. It's nuts. Oh my god. Nope. Come on. Oh, you son of a... I hate the first person aiming in this game. It is so bad. I'm trying to move my... This is how fast I can move. With okay, controls. Controls on the keyboard, because I'm getting fucking tired of this shit. That's this, that's that. Which one would be... No, that's a sound effect. I need camera controls. Control, Alt... Which one? Okay, so that AD, that's a thing. G, L. I'm actually gonna try to find this control on a freaking keyboard, because controller drives me absolutely freaking nuts, and it seems like I cannot find it even. That's a relief. Yes. Going through torture then. Same freaking torture. Okay, let's go. This does something, so I made a good positioning of this. Okay, so this unlocks this for me. Which also means I can now use this pillar to jump inside. Can I disable that? I really need to find a way to assign, like, I really wish I could bring up the controls for Soul Reaver 1 into this game. I really wish I could. There we go. I think that's gonna give me the tool that I need. Mass Effect 1 is one of the best games, one of the best science fiction games of all time, hands down. If someone's gonna say otherwise, they don't know what taste is, or they don't have a taste. Because I said so. Okay, so we have this, and now I need to deliver it into a different room. Hey, look at that, open sesame. Nice. Okay, so this is gonna give me either the light Reaver or the dark Reaver. I don't know which one. I mean, it's always fooling around with light, so it's definitely light Reaver. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a Dark Reaver. That's my jam. That's my jam. Oh boy. That's the jam.
As I neared the altar, I suddenly felt the Reaver quickening of its own volition. Just as in William's chapel, the balance of power tangibly shifted. Voracious and willful, the Soul Reaver was now in control, and I, merely its helpless puppet. The Reaver plunged itself into that mysterious altar, and devouring the energy that emanated from within, drained this place of its power. Thus sated, the Reaver released me. And I realized as I recovered control that these ancient shrines were forges, each purpose-built to enhance the Reaver with elemental power.
And this one is... And with a new Reaver, I even gain more health. Okay, so this game kind of got rid of the health runes that could be found in Soul Reaver 1. Probably they did that because they wanted to make this game a little bit more linear. I don't really see any other reason to do that. Okay, is there a way to like switch the Reavers? Maybe. No, that's on the keyboard, and that's not gonna help. Second analog stick doesn't really do that. Numpad, maybe? No. This is where I'm talking to Shepard. Get to my ship as soon as possible. We bank, okay?
Now I understood the purpose of the mysterious basins I had seen throughout my journey.
Oh, basins?
They were elemental fonts, each attuned to a fundamental essence. When I forged the blade, every font in Nosgoth with the same elemental attunement was simultaneously quickened. The Reaver's enhancements were never permanent, but these fonts enabled me to re-imbue the blade by bathing it in the elemental energy distilled therein.
Yeah, that's attunement. My Reaver's already switched to dark, so... Okay, so that means that now I can open some doors from before that I couldn't open earlier. There was this one crooked door that I did not open at the beginning of the game because I didn't knew that I could have already telekinesis.
Circles, one eclipsing the other. I recognized this symbol from the door sealing that other ancient shrine, the one I had seen in the lake outside the Sarafan stronghold.
Exactly.
Perhaps now, armed as I was with the elemental power of darkness, I could return and gain entry.
I'm equipped with the elemental power of Shadow the Hedgehog. Alright, got the checkpoint. Seems like
You're
that.
a ragged excuse for a savior.
Vorador.
I see my reputation precedes me.
It does.
All good, I hope? I've been watching you since you emerged from that accursed stronghold. Strange that your arrival coincides with the corruption of the Pillars. But I'm wondering, are you the catalyst of these events? Or the answer to them?
I don't know what you mean.
I will speak plainly then. I distrust your origins, stranger. Seeing you crawl from the putrid depths of Mobius's keep makes me question your purpose here. And what should I make of your appearance? Not human, clearly, and more demon than vampire. And the Pillars. It is no mere coincidence that your arrival in that clearing heralded the Pillars' decay. And so I ask you plainly, are you the instrument of the Pillars' destruction or their salvation?
Neither.
Very well. Let us look at the other side of the coin. I have followed your journey and watched as you blithely unlocked secrets that have been sealed and forbidden for thousands of years. The path you have been treading is open to only one being. You don't know what you are, do you?
I have been many things. If you find me ignorant, enlighten me.
What's the point? This world is beyond redemption. Let the human cattle have it.
I would expect better than meek capitulation from you.
Centuries of persecution have taught me well. 500 years ago, our race was nearly exterminated by the fanatical crusades of the Seraphan. And now the same sick drama unfolds again. In merely a decade, Mobius's cutthroat citizen army has nearly accomplished what the Seraphan could not. Vampires meddling in the affairs of men. Look where it's brought us.
What am I to make of these secrets I've uncovered, then? The depictions of the winged race, the Pillars, and the Reaver.
Fairy tales, boy. The delusions of an ancient culture clinging to hope long after the world had discarded them. Their bloodline trickled away, until only one of the ancients remained, sustained solely by obligation and his unfaltering faith in the old prophecies. But you see, even if you are who you appear to be, it no longer matters. You're simply too late. Janos Audron, the Reaver Guardian, the last of the ancients, and my maker, was murdered by the Seraphan nearly 5 centuries ago. He alone would have the answers you seek, but his secrets died with him. I don't know how you've come even this far without his guidance, or without the Reaver, stolen these 500 years ago by the Seraphan. I'm afraid, my friend, that you and all of us are out of luck.
I had no less reason to trust Vorador than anyone else I had met. In fact, the ancient vampire was the most forthright being I had encountered thus far. If Janos Audron was the key to all this, then I would find him, and Mobius's time-streaming device would provide me passage. But first, I had to find a way back into the stronghold, and I suspected I would find the means within the lake's mysterious shrine.
Yeah, Vorador, according to the lore, he was one of the first human vampires made from humans. One of the first.
There's one. Prepare.
Ow. Yeah, give me that weapon. Thank you. He was one of the first. And he was also responsible for crafting the Reaver, the very first the Reaver that was the first. But because of the time manipulation and this time storyline, you can actually get, or maybe not get, but you can definitely witness a situation where you have two Reavers fighting, especially in the Blood Omen, in the first Blood Omen. You get two separate Reavers. I'm currently looking for that gigantic gate that I have missed previously. The one that apparently I could open with telekinesis. Ow, ow. And cut. Must be somewhere around. Yeah, because that's a safe spot. Come on, climb on it. Raziel, don't be. Are you doing intentionally, Raz? Oh my god, this is like so climbable. Right. I don't remember where that freaking gate was. That's a good opportunity to save the game as in the other. I'm gonna try to move back a little bit. If I'm gonna move too far away, then I'm gonna move back and I'm gonna try to find that gate. Because I believe I can use it with, open it with like telekinesis. I did not know how to open it at first. Is that the gate? No, that's just a climbable wall. I might be going way too far. I do remember that thing was at the bog, at the swamp. Yeah, if I don't need to fight these guys, I'm not going to. Oh yeah, I think it's that gate over there. Don't spoil it, please. Like, just... I know this game is old, but there are other people who've never seen that game. Well, that didn't work. Like, you cannot spoil me, but spoiling others... That's kinda doesn't work. Hold up, no. Camera, first person, and this. Game. Doesn't really work, doesn't it? What's with this wall over here? Someone tells me that I'm supposed to switch the Reaver blades, but the controls doesn't really tell me how to do that. Like, is there like a directional button or something? I know that you could switch the Reavers in Defiance. Can you switch the Reavers in Soul Reaver 2? That's actually a legitimate question. Because there should be some kind of like controls or anything. Because this only summons the Reaver. I wouldn't be surprised if there was not an option to actually switch the blades. But this puzzles me. There must be something about this that I don't know. Anyway, I'm just gonna move back. Right now I need to get back to the pillars or something. Not to the to the pillars, to the area of the pillars, I think. Like, helping me if I'm asking for help or when I'm visibly lost, that's okay, that's fine. Or when I'm asking a question about something, then yes, sure, but just straight backseating? No. There's even a rule that you have clearly did not read. The first one you have stepped into my chat. No backseat gaming. Or not telling me what to do. I don't like that. And as a matter of fact, I really hate that. I really hate when people are trying to be like, hey, do this or do that. I cannot stand it. It's one of my pet peeves. Yeah, the shadows are back. I'm gonna ignore them. Shadows don't even give any soul, so I cannot regenerate from them. Oh, you son of a bitch. Okay, not this way. This way. Okay. The field of view when it comes to this camera is kind of limited. It's funny because the shadows are coming from the Elder God over here. So if I'm still servant of the Elder God, why the shadows do attack me? That's kind of stupid.
Ah, my wayward child returns.
Having unearthed more than you'd like, I suspect. What am I to make of these ruins that litter the land, and these images here in this chamber?
Merely the deceits of a failed civilization. You are being misled, Raziel. This ancient race hoped to manipulate the future with these scrawled misdirections. You must tread carefully. There are dark forces at work in this world, bent on subverting your true destiny.
I have no doubt of that. The question is, am I in their presence right now?
Your arrogance will spell your demise, Raziel. Deny my will, and the arc of your destiny will reach a sudden conclusion.
Your threats are unmoving. Even now, I'm beyond your reach.
My reach is longer than you realize. This is a very dangerous game you're playing, Raziel.
Maybe I should ask that question. I'm gonna ask the question differently. Do I unlock that door that I had a little bit struggle with later, or can I open it right now? Later. Okay, that's all I needed to know. Oh, I can't go this way. Okay. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, back to the pillars it is, it seems. The lack of music, it's really not working. I believe it's a bug with the PC version of some sorts, that the music just refusing to play if I'm moving back to the previous zones. There's no checkpoint over here. Yeah, that you can answer. That is not a spoiler. That is a gameplay question, more or less.
2 arms!
2 arms! Oh, I'm gonna hate that. Oh, so that's the only way to, like, use... Okay, fine. It only turns it back to normal if I'm gonna go through the Spectre realm. That's fair. There we go. Back to the music, even if for a second. Yeah, my character's at full health. I don't need to do that. Huh. Don't you try to fire me. Oh, you like jumping? Okay, fly now. Yeah, the dogs are a little bit annoying. I don't think we're gonna meet them a lot. But I basically don't see when they are attacking. Once they are close, they're just executing the hit and that's it. Well, that's definitely not a thing that I need to use. I need to move back. And I believe to go back, I need to go this way. Yeah, the little fountain, the basin thingy. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But first I need to find the appropriate Reavers to be able to just reactivate them willy-nilly. Bitch. Okay, these guys are dying. I'll be okay with getting hit only once, but these two just bullied me. So I'm bullying them with death. You missed. Your aim sucks. You suck even more. Yeah, okay. What other lesson that I'm learning? The enemies are spawning every single time I'm revisiting the location. Yeah, I see a dark room over there. I think this can only be opened with my Reaver. If I'm gonna aim at it. Assuming that the guy with the cannon is not gonna shoot me while I'm trying to do that. Yeah, I know that in Defiance you can change them on the spot. Oh my god. In Defiance you can change them on the spot, and I know, at least I know that. I am going to go insane with the aiming in this game. I'm pressing the left 3, but if I move it a little bit too much forward to the right or to the left, I'm losing the entire control of... Oh my god. No, that doesn't work. That means there must be some kind of other passage somewhere. At least the save spots are actually pretty common in this game. I really like it about that. Okay, but it points me that I need to have a Dark Reaver. I cannot have it just equipped, that's for sure. Maybe I was too far away to actually do this. Hold up, let me give it a try once again. Nope, that definitely doesn't help. Okay, but what about the gates? There was like 3 gates that I have opened previously. And one in the middle. You can get in this game. Fire, wind... Not sure if the water is available, but there's light. I think fire, it's either fire, wind, and water or something like that. because Defiance have water. Okay, so we have the fountain over here. And it definitely can be used on something. Ah, I see the culprit. I see the culprit now. The gate over there. Yeah, voila. And I believe this is a light Reaver. Yeah, this is the light Reaver. Or it might be a light Reaver, I don't know. Yeah, this is definitely a light Reaver. With quite clear, kind of Egyptian-ish, like, theme. Which I don't mind that. I pressed the X 2 times. Jesus. Sometimes the control input is just so delayed for no reason too. Wait, can I approach this mirror for the cutscene? Nope. I guess this one is to figure out on our own. If it was finished, well, to me it is a finished product.
These murals left no room for doubt. These winged creatures were indeed the architects of the pillars. And while the images were difficult to decipher, the pillars appeared to banish or diminish their enemies somehow.
Well, that doesn't really help me. Definitely cannot open this. And it seems like this can be only be opened from the other side with the appropriate blade, if anything. Right. How could I forget? Spectral Realm. I can go through walls like this in the Spectral Realm. Can I get some kind of a weapon, please? Oh, yes, I can. Assuming I'm not gonna get attacked while picking it up, of course. Yes, of course. Here, let me ask you a question. That's better. Okay, so what do we have here? Seems like we have 2 darkened crystals. It's a big gigantic gate that can be only opened with... I think it can only use my hand. Somehow. Yep. And there goes my weapon. Well, that happened. Another sunbeam puzzle, it seems. 2 sunbeams on every side to open the main gate. And probably the light that needs to like go either through the middle of the room at the very end, or something else that needs to be happening. The person that I have fought that giving start button, because I'm currently pressing the start button in my controller, and seeing that as a block. You suck. You suck, dude. This is such a not convenient or comfortable button. Yeah, this requires a dark Reaver. I need to find the dark fountain. The person that thought that giving a start button on the controller to use the block is, whoa. Oh boy. But it is what it is. Okay, so I can still return here at any point of time. But is there anything else that I can do? Yeah, I cannot use the Reaver over here. It's pretty obvious that this requires some kind of a light source. Beams of light, to be more honest. I definitely can go over there if I'm gonna switch to Spectral Realm. Which probably this is what this puzzle requires. But I'm already 3 hours into the stream, which means I need to take a break. This is a fun game. It feels good to basically remember to try to like recall every single puzzle in this game and everything that happens. Like I said, this game has a freaking brilliant voice acting. The gameplay when it comes to controls could be a little bit better. The combat is definitely something that it can be taught, but it requires a little bit of it requires a little bit of learning. That's all there is to it. Yeah, it's indeed the Pepega time. It's also a tea time. The break is gonna take me between 10 to 15 minutes, maybe even shorter, depends on how fast I'm gonna manage to basically do the things that I want to do. Anyway, links. Thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you guys very much for all the subs that have came in so far. Links to my YouTube, Discord, whatever you guys need is down below, the panels below. If some of you are new to the channel and new to the show, back. And there goes Crazy with another tier 1 sub for 14 months. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hey, Dazu. Enjoy the ad reviewing and some good looking emotes. If you're new to the channel and you're enjoying the show, consider leaving a follow. If you're watching this on Twitch, if you're watching this on YouTube, consider leaving a subscription, ringing the bell, slapping the like, leaving a comment. Welcome back. All that good stuff. And now he does it with tier 1 sub, and the hype train is a go as well. Again, that's for the second time today. Enjoy for tier 1 sub for 7 months and enjoy the ad reviewing. Anyway, like I was trying to say, if you guys enjoyed the show and watching this on YouTube, subscribe, ring the bell, like, leave the comment, all that good stuff. Links to my Discord, YouTube, whatever you guys needs down below the panels. When it comes to form of support, you guys can actually support me via subscribing to me on Twitch via Prime Gaming or regular Twitch subs. There's also option of bits on Twitch. And subs give you ad reviewing and some nice, at least decently looking emotes. That's all I'm gonna say. When it comes to even more direct support, there's also option of donations down below the panels. That's all up to you. I'm just giving the info that you guys can use it. Anyway, thank you guys very much. And I'm gonna play some clips in the meantime from the other games that I'm playing. Once again, thank you very much, and I'll be back in a couple minutes. Don't go anywhere. We're gonna continue this playthrough after the break.